Pine Creek Police Station, Montana. Thunder rumbled as 4 black SUVs rolled up to what they thought was just another sleeping small-town precinct. The cartel's intel suggested an easy target: 2 deputies and an aging chief in a backwater town. They didn't know Chief Mike Harrison had spent 20 years commanding Dallas SWAT's most lethal unit. His deputies were all retired Special Forces and SWAT operators who'd chosen this quiet town for a reason. As 50 armed men approached the station's front door, 15 of America's most experienced tactical operators were already moving into position. Security cameras caught the cartel leader's confident smile as he raised his rifle. But what the gunman missed was why this particular station had military-grade thermal cameras and reinforced walls. This wasn't about taking over a small-town precinct. This was about how America's most decorated SWAT veterans had just sprung a trap 6 months in the making, using a quiet Montana town to lure out a cartel that had killed 3 federal agents last year. But before we jump back into the video, let us know where you're watching from. And if you're enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe, because tomorrow I've got something really special for you. And now, back to the video. The evening shift at Pine Creek Police Station was deliberately quiet. Chief Mike Harrison completed his usual walkthrough with measured precision, each movement calculated to project the casual demeanor of a small-town cop winding down another uneventful day. 20 years commanding Dallas SWAT's elite tactical unit had taught him that the best operations looked exactly like routine right up until they didn't. Through concealed earpieces, his team maintained constant communication disguised as mundane. Police chatter. Perimeter check complete. All systems nominal. Dispatch, Unit 3 completing final patrol. Roger that, see you back at station. To any observer, it seemed like typical end-of-shift radio traffic, but each transmission carried coded confirmation that the trap was set. His deputies, all former Special Forces and SWAT operators, moved with practiced casualness that concealed lethal capability. In the dispatch office, Jack Martinez monitored sophisticated surveillance systems hidden behind outdated police equipment. His 15 years as SWAT's technical specialist had transformed this seeming backwater station into a sophisticated command center. Movement on the southern approach, he reported quietly. 4 SUVs matching predicted cartel vehicle profiles, thermals showing multiple armed occupants, estimated 50-plus hostiles. Harrison allowed himself a small smile. 6 months of careful preparation were about to pay off. The cartel had taken the bait, a seemingly vulnerable police station in a quiet Montana town, perfect for sending a message about their expansion into new territory. Maintain routine protocols, he instructed while adjusting his tactical vest, concealed under his uniform shirt. Let them think they're surprising sleeping cops. The station's apparent vulnerability had been meticulously engineered. Every camera visible to suggest lax security while concealing military-grade surveillance. Each entry point appearing weakly defended while channeling movement into prepared kill zones. Even the 2 patrol cars parked outside were positioned to influence the cartel's tactical approach. They're staging at the tree line, Sarah Cooper reported from her hide in the station's modified roof structure. The former Army Ranger sniper had helped design the building's concealed defensive positions. Multiple teams moving into assault formation. These aren't amateur gunmen, they've got tactical training. Harrison nodded with grim satisfaction. The cartel had brought their elite enforcement unit, exactly as predicted. After their operators killed 3 federal agents last year, they'd grown bold about targeting law enforcement. Now that same arrogance had led them straight into a trap. 6 months in the making. Remember, he transmitted to his team as the SUVs began their final approach. Let them commit fully to the assault. We want their entire force inside our containment zone before we spring the surprise. Thunder rolled across Montana's big sky as 50 of the cartel's best gunmen moved toward what they thought was just another sleeping small-town precinct. They had no way of knowing they were walking into an ambush planned by some of America's most experienced tactical operators. The station's external cameras caught the cartel leader's confident smile as he raised his rifle toward the front entrance. Behind him, well-trained gunmen moved into breaching positions with professional precision. Everything suggested their superior numbers and tactical expertise would make this an easy target. They were about to learn why you never corner men who had spent careers mastering the art of close-quarters combat. The first sign that something was wrong came when the cartel's breaching team reached the station's front entrance. Their explosives expert, a former Mexican Special Forces demolition specialist, noticed subtle irregularities in the door frames. Construction. Jefe, he whispered into his tactical radio. Something's not right. This isn't standard police station architecture. But the warning came too late. The cartel force was already committed to their assault. 50 elite gunmen positioned around what they thought was a sleeping small-town precinct. Their leader, Marco Salazar, dismissed the concern with a gesture. After successfully targeting multiple police stations during their northward expansion, he had grown confident in their tactical superiority. Inside the station's sophisticated command center, disguised as an outdated dispatch office, Jack Martinez tracked every movement through military-grade thermal imaging. All elements in position, he reported quietly. Primary assault teams staging at main entrance, secondary teams covering east and west approaches, sniper team establishing overwatch from the bank building across the street. Chief Harrison studied the tactical displays with cold satisfaction. 20 years commanding Dallas SWAT's elite tactical unit had taught him to appreciate when an enemy's apparent advantages played directly into prepared countermeasures. "Show me their tactical disposition," he requested. Martinez manipulated the surveillance feeds. 4-man breaching team at the main entrance. 12-man assault element in support position. 20 shooters divided between east and west coverage. Sniper team of 4 on elevated position. Vehicle security teams holding with their SUVs. The cartel force moved with professional precision, proper spacing, coordinated movements, tactical awareness. These weren't random gunmen, but experienced operators with military training. Their confidence was built on dozens of successful operations against law enforcement targets. "They're good," Sarah Cooper observed from her concealed sniper hide in the station's modified roof structure. Her Army Ranger experience helped her appreciate the cartel team's tactical competence. Standard stack formation, proper security positions, disciplined trigger control. "These guys have done this before." "Good," Harrison replied. "Let them commit to their rehearsed breach plan. Everything they see is designed to reinforce their assumptions about an easy target." Through the station's advanced surveillance system, they watched the cartel force making final preparations. Salazar conducted last-minute checks with his team leaders, their hand signals reflecting professional tactical training. Their intel suggested a simple target: 2 deputies and an aging chief in a backwater town. Every visible indicator reinforced that assessment. What they couldn't see was the lethal trap they were walking into. The station's apparently normal walls had been reinforced to military specifications, designed to channel attackers into prepared kill zones. Every entry point was covered by interlocking fields of fire from concealed positions manned by veteran SWAT operators. The outdated security cameras they'd noted in their reconnaissance masked sophisticated surveillance systems that tracked their every movement. Even the patrol cars parked outside had been positioned to influence their tactical approach, subtly funneling them into optimum engagement positions. "All teams, sound off," Harrison transmitted through their concealed communications network. Each of his deputies reported with practiced efficiency. Team 1 in position. 3 former SWAT operators covering the main entrance from concealed. Strong points. Team 2 ready. Ex-Special Forces personnel manning reinforced positions overlooking the side approaches. Team 3 set. Veterans from multiple tactical units prepared to cut off any retreat. Overwatch established. Sarah Cooper and her precision rifle team tracking targets from hidden elevated positions. Command and control active. Jack Martinez coordinating their sophisticated surveillance and communication systems. The station's interior had been carefully engineered for this moment. What appeared to be normal police office furniture concealed tactical positions. Hallways were designed to create perfect fields of fire while appearing completely standard. Even the lighting had been modified to provide defenders with optimal visibility while hindering attackers. "Remember," Harrison instructed his team, "let them initiate their breach. We want their entire assault force committed before we spring the trap." Through military-grade thermal imaging, they watched the cartel's breaching expert preparing his charges. The explosives were professionally positioned. Another indication that these weren't amateur gunmen, but experienced tactical operators. 30 seconds, Martinez announced as the breaching team made final adjustments. Harrison allowed himself a grim smile. 6 months of careful preparation were about to pay off. The cartel force that had killed 3 federal agents was about to discover why you never corner men who had spent careers mastering close-quarters combat. "Control, be advised," Sarah reported from her elevated position. I have positive identification on Salazar. Facial recognition confirms this is the same unit responsible for the federal agent ambush last year. The confirmation added satisfying weight to their trap. This wasn't just about defending a police station. It was about eliminating a cartel tactical unit that had grown too bold in targeting law enforcement. 10 seconds, Martinez called as the breaching team took final positions. Thunder rolled across the Montana night as 50 of the cartel's best operators prepared to assault what they thought was a simple small-town precinct. Their tactical expertise and superior numbers had made them confident of easy victory. They were about to learn what happened when you brought cartel swagger up against American special operations experience. 5 seconds, Martinez announced. Breaching charges armed. In his command position, Harrison made final confirmations with his team. 15 of America's most experienced tactical operators waited in concealed positions, ready to demonstrate why their reputation for lethal efficiency was well earned. All teams, he transmitted quietly, prepare to execute on breach. Let's teach them why some targets aren't worth attacking. The cartel leader raised his hand to signal the assault's initiation. Behind him, 50 elite gunmen tensed for action, their weapons ready, their movements reflecting years of tactical experience. Everything suggested this would be another successful operation against an outmatched police force. They had no way of knowing that every assumption, every tactical decision, every apparent advantage had been carefully engineered to bring them to this moment. The trap, 6 months in the making, was about to be sprung. The breaching charges detonated with professional precision, and the cartel force began their assault. They were about to discover that this quiet Montana police station had been designed by men who wrote the book on close-quarters combat, right after they finished teaching it to America's most elite tactical units. The breaching charges detonated with professional precision, but the expected devastation never came. The station's reinforced entry points, engineered to military specifications, channeled the explosion's force harmlessly outward. For a fraction of a second, the cartel's assault team hesitated, a momentary break in their practiced rhythm that told Harrison they had just realized something was very wrong. First lesson, Harrison transmitted to his team as the cartel force committed to their entry. Let's show them why SWAT operators are force multipliers in close-quarters combat. What followed was a masterclass in tactical response that would be studied in law enforcement academies for years to come. The cartel's lead element moved through the smoke with practiced efficiency, their weapons tracking sectors just as they'd rehearsed. But everything about the station's interior had been designed to disorient attackers while providing defenders with perfect fields of fire. Multiple targets entering central corridor, Martinez reported through their tactical net. 12 hostiles in primary stack, east and west teams moving to support positions. Harrison watched through sophisticated thermal imaging as the cartel force discovered that none of their tactical assumptions were valid. The hallways they'd mapped during reconnaissance suddenly seemed wrong. Subtle architectural modifications creating psychological uncertainty while channeling movement exactly where the defenders wanted it. Execute containment, Harrison ordered. As the trap reached perfection, Sarah Cooper's precision rifle spoke first from her concealed position. The cartel's sniper team, set up in what they thought was a perfect overwatch position, never knew what hit them. 4 shots in under 3 seconds eliminated their elevated support. Overwatch neutralized, she reported calmly. The Army Ranger, sniper had spent hundreds of hours helping design the station's hidden firing ports and elevated positions. Now that preparation paid lethal dividends. Inside the station, the cartel force discovered that standard police architecture had been replaced by a sophisticated tactical maze. Every corner they cleared exposed them to interlocking fields of fire from concealed positions. Every apparent cover point proved worthless against carefully planned shooting angles. Team 1, led by former SWAT operator Mike Chen, engaged the primary assault element with devastating efficiency. Their concealed positions had been precisely calculated to maximize defensive advantages while appearing completely normal. 8 targets down, Chen reported, as his team's precision fire tore through the cartel's lead stack, remainder falling back to secondary positions. But the station's layout had been engineered to make retreat as deadly as advance. Team 2, composed of ex-Special Forces personnel, caught the withdrawing gunmen in perfectly prepared crossfire positions. Contact East Corridor, Tom Roberts transmitted. His 20 years in Special Forces had taught him how to turn architectural features into tactical advantages. 5 hostiles eliminated, 3 more combat ineffective. The cartel's tactical training proved useless against a defensive position designed by men who had spent careers perfecting close-quarters combat. Every move they made played directly into prepared responses. Every attempt to gain advantage exposed them to devastating fire. Vehicle teams attempting to provide support, Martinez reported from his surveillance station, trying to establish fire superiority through external positions. But the station's reinforced walls easily absorbed their fire, while allowing defenders to engage through carefully constructed ports. Even the exterior lighting had been modified to create harsh shadows that concealed defensive positions while illuminating attackers. "Control, this is Overwatch," Sarah transmitted. "Vehicle teams clustering behind SUVs. Permission to initiate secondary countdown?" Harrison watched through thermal imaging as the cartel's remaining forces made their fatal mistake, bunching up behind what they thought was good cover. Execute. Concealed charges, planted months ago beneath apparent road repairs, detonated with precise timing. The SUVs that seemed to offer protection became deadly shrapnel generators, eliminating any organized escape attempt. Inside the station, the cartel forces' tactical cohesion finally broke. Their training was solid, their equipment professional, their numbers superior. But none of it mattered against defenders who had spent 6 months preparing this exact scenario. "They're splitting up," Martinez reported. "Small teams trying to find alternate exits." "Initiate closeout protocols," Harrison ordered. "Show them why cornered SWAT operators are every tactical team's nightmare." His defenders moved with lethal precision, each operator knowing exactly how the station's architecture could be used against dispersed enemies. Decades of combined tactical experience turned every corridor into a killing zone, every room into a perfectly prepared ambush point. Team 3, led by former SEAL Jeff Williams, methodically eliminated cartel gunmen attempting to locate emergency exits. 4 more down, he reported. No resistance remaining in West Sector. Through surveillance cameras, Harrison watched the cartel leader, Salazar, finally comprehending the magnitude of their miscalculation. The confident smile he'd worn during their approach had been replaced by desperate calculation as his elite tactical unit was systematically dismantled. "Jefe!" one of his surviving team leaders shouted. "These aren't regular cops. The whole building is a fucking tactical engineered kill box." The realization came far too late. Harrison's team had spent distinguished careers training America's most elite tactical units in exactly this type of combat. Now, they demonstrated why experience and preparation would always trump numbers and arrogance. "Status report," Harrison requested as the shooting began to diminish. "East Sector cleared," Roberts reported. 9 targets neutralized, no survivors. "West Sector secure," Williams transmitted. 7 eliminated, 3 surrendering. "Central corridor contained," Chen added. 12 hostiles combat ineffective. "Primary assault element completely neutralized. Exterior cleaned," Sarah confirmed from her elevated position. "Vehicle teams eliminated. No movement at perimeter." Martinez coordinated the tactical feeds, his surveillance systems painting a comprehensive picture of the engagement. Total count: 47 hostiles neutralized or combat ineffective. 3 surrendering, no escapees. The entire engagement had lasted less than 4 minutes. 50 elite cartel operators, with tactical training and superior numbers, had been systematically eliminated by 15 experienced defenders in prepared positions. "Control, this is Overwatch," Sarah transmitted. "I have eyes on Salazar. He's wounded, but mobile, trying to reach the north emergency exit." Harrison allowed himself a cold smile. The cartel leader was heading exactly where they wanted him, toward a seeming escape route that would put him directly in their most carefully prepared kill zone. "All teams maintain containment," he ordered. "Let's finish teaching them why you never corner men who spent careers perfecting close-quarters combat." The trap they had spent 6 months preparing was about to close its final phase, and Marco Salazar was about to learn why some targets weren't worth pursuing, no matter how vulnerable they appeared. Marco Salazar had survived 15 years of cartel warfare through tactical excellence and ruthless efficiency. But as he limped toward what he thought was an emergency exit, blood seeping from a shoulder wound, he finally understood what it meant to be completely outmaneuvered. "Jefe!" His radio crackled with his last surviving lieutenant's voice. "It's a trap. The whole station is a tactical engineered..." The transmission cut off in a burst of precision gunfire. Through the station's sophisticated surveillance system, Harrison watched the cartel leader processing his catastrophic miscalculation. Everything about this operation had gone wrong. His 50 elite operators, all with military or law enforcement training, had been systematically dismantled by what appeared to be a small-town police force. "Status update," Harrison requested from his command position. 3 teams surrendered. "In East Wing," Chen reported. "All others neutralized or combat ineffective. No resistance remaining in primary sectors. Overwatch maintaining coverage of all approaches," Sarah added. "No movement at perimeter. Local response units holding at established boundaries. Surveillance confirms no additional cartel forces in the area," Martinez transmitted from his control station. "Looks like they committed their entire tactical unit to this operation." Harrison allowed himself a grim smile. 6 months of preparation were paying off exactly as planned. The cartel force that had killed 3 federal agents was being systematically eliminated by the very kind of men they thought they could intimidate. "Show me Salazar's position," he instructed. Martinez manipulated the thermal feeds, showing the cartel leader moving exactly where they wanted him. "He's approaching the north emergency exit, heading straight into the primary containment zone." The emergency exit had been carefully engineered as part of their trap. Everything about its location and appearance was designed to draw fleeing targets into a perfect killing zone. Even the building's lighting had been modified to make it seem like the most viable escape route. "All teams, prepare for final phase," Harrison transmitted. "Let's show them why experienced tactical operators are lethal in closed environments." His defenders acknowledged with professional precision, each moving to predetermined positions with practiced efficiency. Decades of combined special operations experience had taught them how to turn architecture into a weapon. Through thermal imaging, they watched Salazar approaching the trap's final element. The cartel leader moved with tactical awareness despite his wounds, his experience evident in how he checked angles and maintained awareness. But he was playing a game where every rule had been written by men who had spent careers perfecting close-quarters combat. "Control, this is Overwatch," Sarah reported from her elevated position. "I have solution if he diverts from the primary channel." "Negative," Harrison responded. "Maintain containment only. We want him to reach the terminal point. Time to demonstrate why SWAT commanders are tacticians first and shooters second." The station's architecture had been subtly modified to create psychological pressure, every feature designed to influence movement patterns without being obvious. Salazar thought he was choosing his path, but every decision had been engineered in advance. "He's approaching the final corridor," Martinez announced. 30 seconds to optimal position. Harrison watched through multiple camera angles as the trap reached its culmination. Everything about the station's layout had been prepared for this moment. The lighting, the angles, the apparent cover positions, all precisely calculated. "You know what your biggest mistake was, Mr. Salazar?" Harrison's voice carried through the station's PA system, carefully modulated to prevent directional identification. "You assumed that taking a small-town police station would be easy, that superior numbers and cartel reputation would overwhelm any resistance." Salazar spun at the voice, his expensive tactical gear stained with blood and cordite. His weapon tracked shadows as he tried to locate the source of the transmission. "You killed 3 federal agents last year," Harrison continued, while his team maintained perfect stillness in their prepared positions. "Got bold about targeting law enforcement. Never considered that some of us might have spent careers training for exactly this type of fight." The cartel leader's tactical training showed in how he handled the psychological pressure, but every move he made had been anticipated and prepared for by men who had written the book on close-quarters combat. "Who are you?" Salazar demanded, his voice carrying the edge of someone unused to being outmaneuvered. "What is this place?" "This place?" Harrison allowed himself a cold smile. "This is what happens when you corner men who spent 30 years training America's most elite tactical units. Did you really think we chose this quiet town by accident? That we didn't spend months preparing for exactly this response?" Realization dawned in Salazar's eyes as he finally understood the true nature of what he was facing. This wasn't a random police station. It was a sophisticated tactical position engineered by special operations veterans. "The whole thing was a trap," he breathed, professional assessment temporarily overcoming survival instinct. The vulnerable location, the apparent lack of security, the easy target profile, all of it designed to draw us in. "Very good," Harrison acknowledged as his team maintained their containment positions. "Now you're starting to understand why some targets aren't worth pursuing. Unfortunately, that lesson comes a bit too late." Salazar's tactical expertise showed one final time as he spun toward what appeared to be a defensible position. But like everything else in the station, it was exactly what Harrison's team had prepared for. The next 30 seconds demonstrated why experienced SWAT operators were considered masters of close-quarters combat. Every move Salazar made exposed him to interlocking fields of fire from concealed positions. Every attempt to gain advantage led him deeper into carefully prepared kill zones. When it was over, the cartel leader lay wounded, but alive, his weapon kicked away by operators who seemed to materialize from architecturally concealed positions. "Clear," Chen reported professionally. "Clear," Roberts echoed from his sector. "Clear," Williams confirmed. "Overwatch maintaining containment," Sarah added from her elevated position. Harrison approached the fallen cartel leader, his movements reflecting decades of tactical experience. "Final lesson, Mr. Salazar. Sometimes the most effective tactical operations look exactly like vulnerable targets, right up until they don't." Martinez's voice came through their tactical net. Federal response teams moving into final containment positions. DEA tactical units approaching from multiple directions. "Perfect timing," Harrison acknowledged. "Maintain security protocols until handoff is complete. Tactical situations aren't over until fully resolved." Through the station's sophisticated surveillance system, they watched federal units establishing a perimeter control. The cartel force that had killed 3 agents had been completely eliminated, their entire tactical capability dismantled by 15 experienced operators in prepared positions. "Final numbers," Martinez reported from his control station. "Enemy force, 50 combatants total. Casualties, 38 eliminated. Combat ineffective, 9 wounded. Surrendered, 3 remaining. Time from initiation to resolution, under 7 minutes. The tactical efficiency reflected decades of combined special operations experience. Every shot carefully chosen, every position precisely prepared, every movement professionally executed. DEA Agent Rodriguez approached the station's entrance, her expression showing professional appreciation for the defensive masterpiece they had witnessed. "You knew they'd target this location," she observed. "This whole operation was designed to draw out their entire tactical capability." Harrison nodded as his team began emerging from their concealed positions. Sometimes the best special operations strategy is to let the enemy think they found a soft target. Everything they saw was engineered to bring their full force into a prepared kill zone. The Montana night had grown quiet as federal agents began processing the aftermath of cartel ambition meeting special operations expertise. Harrison's defenders maintained security, professionals who understood that tactical situations remained fluid until fully resolved. In the command center, Martinez continued gathering intelligence from seized equipment while Sarah's precision rifle covered the ongoing prisoner transport. The morning's brief violence had demonstrated why they had spent distinguished careers training America's elite tactical units. But the true victory lay in the complete elimination of a cartel force that had grown too bold about targeting law enforcement. Sometimes the best special operations triumph looked exactly like simple self-defense, right up until it revealed its deeper purpose. The DEA command post established in the station's parking lot hummed with controlled chaos as federal agents processed the night's events. Agent Rodriguez studied the tactical overlays Martinez had provided, her 20 years of cartel operations, experience evident in her measured assessment. "This is extraordinary," she admitted, watching high-resolution footage of the brief but devastating engagement. "Your team engaged 50 cartel operators with 0 friendly casualties. Every shot documented and justified. The entire operation perfectly executed." Harrison sipped coffee while maintaining tactical awareness, even with federal teams securing the area. Old habits, ingrained through decades of SWAT operations, didn't fade just because official authorities had arrived. "We've had 6 months to prepare since our intel suggested they'd expand into this region," he explained, gesturing toward the station's seemingly normal layout. "Every feature serves multiple purposes. That hallway they tried to use for cover, reinforced walls calibrated for bullet penetration at exactly the right angles. The emergency lighting they thought would give them advantage, specifically engineered to create disorienting shadows while giving defenders perfect visibility." Rodriguez shook her head in professional admiration. Through her earpiece, updates continued streaming as her teams processed prisoners and documented the scene. 38 confirmed KIA. 9 wounded in custody. 3 surrendered, all providing intel. Significant weapons cache recovered. Your tactical preparation is incredible, she noted, watching multiple camera angles of the brief firefight. We've been building a case against Salazar's operation for months. This gives us everything we need for a major prosecution. Martinez, Harrison called to his technical expert, show the agent our full surveillance package. Martinez approached, with another tablet, his unassuming appearance belying his extensive SWAT intelligence background. We've maintained comprehensive monitoring since picking this location. Every cartel movement in the region, every reconnaissance attempt, every pattern of operation recorded and analyzed. The tablet displayed an intricate web of cartel activities throughout the area. Harrison's team hadn't just defended their station. They'd been quietly gathering intelligence on the entire operation. Those routine patrols through town, Martinez continued. Actually, signals intelligence collection, the regular building maintenance, thermal imaging of their movement patterns. Even our police response times were choreographed to encourage them to see us as an easy target. Rodriguez studied the data with growing appreciation. Her task force had spent months trying to map the cartel's regional infrastructure. Harrison's team had handed them a complete intelligence package, wrapped in probable cause. Sir. A DEA tactical operator jogged up, his expression urgent. You need to see what we found in their vehicles. The group moved to where federal agents were documenting the cartel convoy's contents. The lead SUV's reinforced trunk contained battle plans that revealed darker intentions than simple police station seizure. They weren't just coming to make a statement, Rodriguez observed grimly, cataloging detailed maps of other law enforcement targets. This was meant to be the first of multiple attacks, testing their ability to directly engage police forces. Harrison's expression remained neutral, but his team exchanged knowing glances. They had suspected the cartel's broader intentions, which was why this trap had been engineered for maximum effect. Agent Rodriguez, Sarah's voice crackled through the command net. We're getting movement on thermal at the county line. Multiple vehicles approaching at high speed. Cartel reinforcements, Martinez confirmed, checking his surveillance feeds. Looks like their backup unit, probably waiting to support the main assault. Harrison's defenders shifted with silent efficiency, weapons orienting toward the new threat. Even with federal authorities on scene, they maintained their tactical discipline and readiness. Your jurisdiction, Rodriguez keyed her radio. Your call, Chief Harrison. Sarah, Harrison instructed calmly. Demonstrate why they should reconsider that approach. A single shot rang out from Sarah's position. Seconds later, Martinez's thermal imaging showed the approaching vehicles screeching to a halt as their lead vehicle's engine block disintegrated. Warning shot disabled their point vehicle, Sarah reported with professional satisfaction. They're withdrawing back across the county line. Agent Rodriguez, Harrison suggested. You might want to have your helicopters check the county line. I suspect you'll find more cartel vehicles staged for their second wave. Rodriguez was already coordinating with her air assets, directing them to investigate the area Sarah had indicated. Within minutes, the radio crackled with confirmation. Command, Air 3. Multiple vehicles located at the given coordinates. Suspects fleeing south at high speed. As federal agents moved to intercept the reinforcement group, Harrison's team maintained their defensive positions. Years of tactical operations had taught them that fluid situations often produced unexpected developments. Dawn painted Montana's big sky in shades of purple and gold as Harrison gathered his team in what appeared to be a normal police briefing room. The DEA's evidence collection was complete, though federal teams continued processing the outlying areas. Now was time for the after-action review that followed every operation, a habit ingrained through decades of tactical experience. Martinez, Harrison addressed his intelligence specialist. Walk us through what we learned from their devices. Martinez's fingers moved across multiple screens with practiced efficiency. The briefing room's interior revealed its true nature. State-of-the-art surveillance systems disguised as outdated police equipment, tactical communications gear hidden within standard office furniture, and enough technology to run a military command post concealed behind ordinary walls. The operation went higher than Salazar, Martinez began, displaying intercepted communications. This was sanctioned by the cartel's senior leadership. His phone contains direct orders from their command structure in Mexico. The screens showed an intricate network of cartel operations throughout the region. Text messages, photos, and operational plans revealed the full scope of their intended expansion into law enforcement targeting. They've been watching us for months, Martinez continued, showing surveillance photos taken of the station, regular observation teams disguised as travelers passing through, thermal imaging of our building, even drone reconnaissance masked as real estate surveys. Sarah Cooper, her precision rifle still within arm's reach, studied the cartel's intelligence with professional interest. They completely misread our defensive preparations, thought the reinforced walls were standard construction, assumed our tactical movements were just small-town cops going about routine business. Classic failure of assumptions, Tom Roberts added from his position near the tactical display. They saw what they expected to see, an aging chief and a few deputies in a backwater town, never questioned why supposed small-town cops moved with tactical precision or maintained perfect fields of fire. Mike Chen manipulated the surveillance feeds showing cartel positions from the night's engagement. Their assault plan was actually pretty solid, he indicated on the tactical map. Multiple entry points, proper support positions, coordinated movements would have worked perfectly against a normal police station. Harrison nodded with satisfaction. His team's diverse backgrounds and specialties had enabled them to predict and prepare for exactly this type of sophisticated assault. "Show me their command structure," he requested. Martinez brought up files compiled through months of surveillance. Salazar was their primary enforcer for the entire northern expansion. His capture gives us unprecedented insight into their organization. The screens displayed an intricate hierarchy of cartel leadership, each position annotated with intelligence gathered by Harrison's team. "This is Diego Ramirez," Martinez indicated, a stern-faced man in an expensive suit. "Controls their operations across 5 states. He personally approved targeting law enforcement facilities." Manuel Torres, another image appeared. "Head of their tactical teams, former Mexican Special Forces. He's the one who trained their assault units." And Francisco Ortiz, a third face, joined the display. Their regional intelligence chief, ex-federal police turned cartel. He coordinated the surveillance of potential targets. Sarah studied the organizational chart with sniper's analytical precision. Their entire regional leadership was invested in this operation. Taking a small-town police station would have demonstrated their ability to directly challenge law enforcement. Instead, Tom added with professional satisfaction, "We've handed DEA enough intelligence to dismantle their infrastructure across multiple states. Sometimes the best trap is one the enemy walks into willingly." Harrison's team had backgrounds that made them uniquely suited for this operation. Sarah Cooper had served 3 tours as an Army Ranger sniper before joining SWAT. Her precision rifle work had earned her multiple distinguished shooting awards and a reputation for exceptional accuracy under pressure. Tom Roberts brought 20 years of Special Forces experience, specializing in unconventional warfare and defensive operations. He had helped design the station's elaborate security measures, turning apparent vulnerabilities into tactical advantages. Mike Chen's Delta Force background included extensive work in counter-narcotics operations. His understanding of cartel tactics had been invaluable in predicting and preparing for their assault methods. Martinez had served in special operations intelligence, his technical expertise enabling them to gather unprecedented information about, transformed a small-town police station into a sophisticated monitoring station. "Show me their operational plans," Harrison requested, studying the documents recovered from Salazar's phone. Martinez brought up detailed attack plans for multiple law enforcement facilities. They were planning a systematic campaign targeting police stations across 3 states, using superior numbers and tactical expertise to overwhelm rural departments. The screens showed a sophisticated strategy for intimidating law enforcement out of cartel expansion territory. Each target carefully selected, reconnaissance conducted, assault plans prepared. Their confidence came from success, Chen noted, displaying after-action reports from previous operations. They'd already taken down 3 police stations in Mexico using these same tactics, superior numbers, tactical training, shock and awe to ensure quick submission. "Which is exactly why we chose this location," Harrison explained to Agent Rodriguez, who had joined their briefing. "Small town near their expansion corridor. Seemingly vulnerable police station. Perfect target to encourage their boldness." Rodriguez studied the tactical displays with growing appreciation. "You engineered every aspect of this trap. The town's location, the station's apparent vulnerability, even your patrol patterns designed to make you look like an easy target." Harrison nodded. 6 months of careful preparation. Every feature of this station modified for defensive advantage while appearing completely normal. even our inadequate security cameras positioned to encourage their confidence. Show her the structural modifications, he instructed Martinez. The screens displayed architectural overlays revealing the station's true nature. Reinforced walls, concealing tactical positions and firing ports. Hallways engineered to channel attackers into kill zones. Lighting systems designed to disorient assaulters while providing defenders perfect visibility. Even the parking lots subtly shaped to influence attacking forces' movement patterns. Every apparent vulnerability was carefully calculated, Tom explained, highlighting defensive features. The exposed windows they thought would give them advantage. Bulletproof glass positioned to create perfect fields of fire. The emergency exits they planned to breach, Sarah added, actually hardened strongpoints with interlocking coverage from multiple positions. Even the interior layout was engineered for tactical advantage, Mike noted. Every corner, every doorway, every apparent cover position designed to give defenders the edge in close-quarters combat. Martinez manipulated the displays to show their surveillance coverage. The whole building is wired with military-grade systems disguised as normal police equipment. Thermal imaging, motion detection, electromagnetic monitoring. We saw everything. They did during their reconnaissance. And their tactical plan played right into our hands, Harrison concluded with professional satisfaction. Every assault position they chose had been prepared for. Every advantage they thought they had was actually engineered to funnel them into our kill zones. Rodriguez shook her head in admiration. You didn't just defeat a cartel tactical unit. You eliminated their entire regional enforcement capability. This is going to cripple their expansion plans. That was the objective, Harrison acknowledged. Let them think they'd found an easy target. Encourage them to commit their full tactical force. Then demonstrate why experienced operators are force multipliers against any conventional threat. The screens showed federal teams continuing to process evidence and transport prisoners. But the real victory lay in the intelligence they'd gathered, enough to dismantle the cartel's entire regional infrastructure. One question, Rodriguez asked. Why here? Why would experienced tactical operators choose to set up in a small Montana town? Harrison studied the tactical displays showing the night's engagement. Because sometimes the best defensive position is one that looks vulnerable. We identified this location specifically because it would draw their attention. Just had to prepare properly and wait for them to take the bait. The morning sun climbed higher as his team continued their after-action review. Each operator contributing insights from their specialized backgrounds, analyzing every aspect of the operation for future improvement. They had demonstrated why 30 years training America's elite tactical units made them uniquely suited for this type of operation. Their diverse special operations backgrounds combining to create a defensive position that rivaled military installations while appearing completely ordinary. The cartel had come with their absolute best effort, superior numbers, tactical expertise, professional training. All it had earned them was a masterclass in why some targets weren't worth pursuing, no matter how vulnerable they appeared. The cartel force initiated their assault with pure brute force, heavy weapons opening up on the station with devastating firepower. 50 caliber rounds and mortar shells rained down on what they thought was a vulnerable police building. The noise was deafening. The display of force meant to shatter any hope of resistance. But Harrison's team had spent careers preparing for exactly this type of engagement. Let them waste ammunition, Harrison instructed calmly as the building absorbed the barrage without damage. Every shot reveals their positions. Every radio transmission tells us their plans. Through sophisticated surveillance, they watch the cartel force deploying with more enthusiasm than tactical sense. Multiple heavy weapons teams establishing fire bases, Martinez reported. Vehicle-mounted 50 cals at these positions. Mortar. Teams setting up here and here. They're bunching up, Sarah observed from her elevated position. Her precision rifle tracking priority targets. No dispersion, no proper security. Just cramming as many shooters as possible into obvious positions. Harrison allowed himself a cold smile. The cartel's first defeat had shattered their tactical discipline. Now they were responding with pure rage and superior numbers, abandoning proper military doctrine in favor of overwhelming force. Execute containment protocols, he ordered as the trap reached perfection. Show them why quality beats quantity every time. What followed was a masterclass in tactical response. Sarah's precision rifle spoke first, each shot carefully chosen for maximum strategic impact. The cartel's heavy weapons crews, bunched around their guns without proper security, never knew what hit them. 8 shots in rapid succession eliminated their fire support capability. Heavy weapons neutralized, she reported professionally. Moving to command element targets. The cartel force's lack of tactical spacing proved devastating. Their officers, clustered together trying to coordinate the massive assault, presented perfect targets for precision fire. 4 more shots removed their entire command structure. Control teams eliminated, Sarah confirmed. Shifting to vehicle. Interdiction. Inside the station, Mike Chen's close-quarters specialists engaged cartel gunmen who had charged the building thinking superior numbers would overwhelm defenders. But every hallway had been engineered as a kill zone, every corner concealed interlocking fields of fire. Multiple targets down in West Corridor, he reported, as his team's disciplined fire tore through the attackers. They're starting to bunch, up in the fatal funnels. Tom Roberts' external security elements caught flanking forces in perfectly prepared engagement zones. The cartel's attempt to surround the station led them directly into pre-ranged killing grounds. East sector contained, he transmitted. 24 targets neutralized, rest falling back into secondary containment areas. Through it all, Martinez's surveillance systems provided perfect tactical awareness. Every cartel movement tracked, every radio transmission intercepted, every attempt to gain advantage predicted and countered. They're losing unit cohesion, he reported with professional satisfaction. No coordination between elements, each group just charging forward independently. Harrison watched through multiple camera feeds as the massive cartel assault dissolved into chaos. 200 gunmen, with superior firepower, being systematically dismantled by 15 experienced operators in prepared positions. Remember, he transmitted to his team, maintain fire discipline. Let them waste ammunition trying to suppress positions we're not using. Keep pushing them into the engineered kill zones. The cartel force was learning the hard way why quantity rarely beat quality in tactical engagements. Their superior numbers meant nothing against defenders who had spent careers mastering close-quarters combat. Their heavy weapons were useless against a building designed to absorb such attacks. Vehicle teams attempting to provide mobile fire support, Martinez announced. Moving into positions we predicted. Initiate secondary containment, Harrison ordered. Concealed charges, placed months ago during apparent roadwork, detonated beneath the cartel's support vehicles. The explosions weren't meant to kill, but to disable their transportation and deny them tactical mobility. All escape routes blocked, Martinez confirmed. They're contained within our primary engagement zone. Through surveillance cameras, Harrison watched the cartel force finally realizing the magnitude of their error. Their massive assault, meant to demonstrate unstoppable power, had instead revealed every tactical weakness that superior numbers usually concealed. Status report, he requested, as the shooting began to diminish. 40-plus targets neutralized in West Sector, Mike reported. Similar numbers eliminated in East Approach, Tom added. Vehicle teams disabled. 40-plus targets neutralized in West Sector, Mike reported. Similar numbers eliminated in East Approach, Tom added. Vehicle teams disabled, Sarah confirmed. Command elements removed. Remaining forces losing all tactical coherence, Martinez concluded. In under 15 minutes, 200 cartel gunmen had been systematically dismantled by superior tactics and precision fire. Their attempt at overwhelming force had instead demonstrated why experience and preparation would always triumph over mere numbers. All teams, Harrison transmitted as he watched the remaining cartel forces beginning to break. Prepare for closeout protocols. Show them why quality operators are force multipliers against any quantity of conventional opponents. Dawn broke over Pine Creek as Harrison surveyed the aftermath of the cartel's massive assault attempt. The parking lot was littered with disabled vehicles, spent brass, and stark evidence of what happens when desperation meets preparation. 200 of the cartel's gunmen had come to erase the humiliation of their first defeat. Instead, they had provided a masterclass in why quality always beats quantity in tactical engagements. Final numbers, Martinez reported from his sophisticated monitoring station. Enemy force, approximately 200 combatants. Casualties, 87 eliminated. 96 combat ineffective, surrendered. 17 in custody. Time from initiation to resolution, 23 minutes. Hour. Ammunition expenditure, 443 rounds total. The tactical efficiency reflected decades of combined special operations experience. Every shot carefully chosen, every position precisely prepared, every movement professionally executed. Through the command center's screens, Harrison watched federal tactical teams securing the perimeter. The DEA's evidence collection units were already processing the scene, documenting how 15 experienced operators had systematically dismantled a force more than 10 times their size. "Boss," Martinez called out, monitoring cartel communications far to the south. "You need to see this. Their entire regional command structure is imploding." The displays showed chaos spreading through cartel leadership. Their elite tactical units eliminated. Their enforcer teams decimated. Their reputation for invincibility shattered by what appeared to be a small-town police force. "Show me their reaction," Harrison requested. The screens displayed intercepted messages revealing an organization in crisis. All operations against law enforcement suspended indefinitely. Full withdrawal from Northern Territories ordered. Emergency. Reassessment of all tactical capabilities required. Extreme caution advised regarding any police targets. "They still don't understand what really happened here," Sarah observed from her overwatch position, her precision rifle still covering approaches even with federal authorities securing the scene. "Think they just got unlucky twice against superior positioning. Haven't realized they attacked a defensive position engineered by special operations veterans." Harrison nodded with grim satisfaction. Sometimes the best tactical victory was one where the enemy never fully understood how completely they had been outmaneuvered. Agent Rodriguez approached their command center, her expression showing professional appreciation for the defensive masterpiece she had witnessed. "You didn't just defeat their assault force," she noted, while studying the tactical displays. "You've shattered their entire operational doctrine. They'll never be able to trust their numerical superiority again. Every seemingly vulnerable target becomes a potential trap." That was the objective, Harrison acknowledged, as his team maintained security. "Let them think the first defeat was a fluke. Encourage them to commit an overwhelming force. Then demonstrate why experience and preparation will always beat mere numbers." His operators had spent distinguished careers proving that quality could defeat quantity when properly employed. Sarah Cooper's precision rifle work had eliminated their command structure and heavy weapons teams, demonstrating why skilled snipers were force multipliers against numerically superior enemies. Mike Chen's close-quarters expertise had turned the station's interior into a killing ground, showing how proper tactical design could negate any numerical advantage in confined spaces. Tom Roberts' defensive engineering had channeled attackers into perfect kill zones, proving why experienced operators could control any battlefield they properly prepared. Martinez's technical capabilities had provided perfect situational awareness, revealing how sophisticated surveillance could counter superior numbers through superior intelligence. "You know what their biggest mistake was?" Harrison asked Rodriguez as federal agents continued processing prisoners. "They assumed that overwhelming force would guarantee victory, that superior numbers and heavy weapons could overwhelm any resistance." He gestured toward the station that had absorbed their massive assault without damage. "But 30 years training America's elite tactical units teaches you that quality beats quantity every time. Proper preparation and tactical excellence will always triumph over mere numbers." The Montana sun climbed higher as Harrison's team maintained their defensive positions. Years of combat experience had taught them that tactical situations weren't over until fully resolved, but they had demonstrated why special operations veterans were uniquely suited for this type of engagement. Through sophisticated surveillance, they watched the ripple effects spreading through cartel operations across 5 states. Every tactical unit questioning their capabilities, every enforcer team hesitating to engage law enforcement, every seemingly vulnerable target now suspected of concealing deadly preparations. "You've changed the entire dynamic," Rodriguez observed. "They'll never be able to operate the same way again." The myth of cartel invincibility died here in Pine Creek. Harrison allowed himself a small smile as his team continued their security protocols. Sometimes the most effective victories were psychological rather than purely tactical. The cartel could replace their lost gunmen and vehicles, but they could never recover their shattered confidence.